What's up, metalheads? My name's Jamie. This is the Blades and EDC channel, and today I'm going to be doing my overview of the EMP EDC Nymble liner lock. And I do have a first impressions of this knife, and you know, my first impressions, I believe I said it felt cheap, and I'm going to retract that statement because that's not really what I meant to say. It doesn't feel cheap to me. It feels something else. I'll go over that in a minute, but let's go over some specs real quick and do some size comparisons, and then I'll talk about this knife a little bit. This is an M390 blade steel, by the way, and this version has the topo carbon fiber scales with titanium liners that are recessed, titanium backspacer, and titanium pocket clip and hardware. The weight on this one is, I believe this is I don't know if this is the 3.3 or 3.6 ounce, so I'm going to weigh it. There's different, I'm not sure if the micarta version weighs more or the carbon fiber version weighs more, so we're going to see here what this weighs. The original frame lock Nymble is about I think the frag version is like 3.61 ounces, something like that. 3.3 ounces. So that seems, so this is on the low end. The micarta version must be the 3.6. So weight is not bad at all, although the thickness on this knife is quite a bit different than the frame lock. It's quite a bit thicker. I would say by almost a full scales thickness here, it's thicker than a frame lock Nymble. And you definitely notice that in hand. If you've ever picked up a frame lock Nymble, as soon as you grab this knife, it feels awkward in your hand if you're used to a Nymble, especially in this grip on this choil, which is the way I always carried my Nymble. It just feels thick, a lot thicker, and it actually, you know, it is almost the full thickness of that scale thicker than a frame lock Nymble. All right, now the cutting edge of this knife is 2.67 inches. I'm looking on the website at specs. Blade length is 3.1 inches, and the overall, so 3.1 inches, 2.67 inches because of this generous forward finger choil here, which I am almost always okay with giving up some cutting edge for that choil with every knife. I love a forward finger choil. It just gives me so much more control in my hand. I just really, really appreciate it on every knife. I haven't found a knife yet that I thought to myself, I wish it didn't have that finger choil. Unless it's a really large knife. It leaves a whole bunch sticking out, but then it's probably a knife that's too large for my hands anyway. So all the hardware is T8, so that's good. It does have a stonewash finish on the blade, and the overall length I don't see on the website. So I don't know. Blade stock is 3.5 millimeters. We're going to check the actual, convert that to inches here, see what it comes out to be. It's pretty thick, 142 thousandths, so not too bad, but for a smaller knife, kind of on the thick end. But I mean, you could do some serious work with it and not have to worry about, you know, doing too much damage to your tip or anything. Got some nice jimping on top. Got a swedge out here at the tip. The patented, you know, the cutout that they do on all the EMP EDC knives, which works great. This knife, it's just like the regular Nymble. You got the reverse flick. You got the thumb flick. Oops. You've got the flipper, and you've got the front flipper. So all the goodies. I do want to measure the overall length real quick because I don't see that on the website. Looking at about 7 inches, right at 7 inches overall length. So not a big knife. And for that shortness, it feels thick, especially once you add the pocket clip in there. Once you add the pocket clip in there, you're at 0.64 inches thick, so getting up near 3/4, closer to 3/4 of an inch thick with that there. And for such a small knife, it just feels thick, you know, feels thick. Doesn't feel bad, it's just different. I think it's different because I've felt a regular Nymble, which is much thinner than this. So the action is fantastic. It really is. Fantastic. This one does have some detent lash, as you can see here. quite a bit of movement in there, and when you're holding it in hand, you can feel that movement. You can feel it moving in the scale, well, not moving in the scale, but you feel the vibration from the movement in the scale. So my Nymble X had real bad detent lash also, so I don't know if that's just something happening with QSP or what's going on. Here's another QSP made knife. Yeah, this one has slight detent lash also, so the stout does, but it's not terrible detent lash. I like this knife a lot. I really do like the action. I like the feel of it. It's buttery smooth action, but the price on this knife is $280. And I think when I said it felt cheap, what I really meant to say is this knife feels way overpriced to me. It feels like it costs way more than it should cost for what it is. I know it's M390, but you know, you can buy a titanium penguin made by QSP and M390 for $130 with jig milling or frag milling or different types of milling nowadays. And yeah, you can even buy a penguin with a full Damascus show side for, I think, I don't remember what Caviso has them for, but it's a lot less than this knife is. So yeah, it just, everything's good about the knife other than it has a little detent lash. And the price, I think it's way overpriced for what you get in here. Considering this is made by QSP, it's $280, right? And yes, it's M390, I know that. But I could buy this made by QSP, it's 14C, for $99. I can buy 2 of these and this one too. So I can buy all 3 of these knives right here, all 3, for what this one knife cost, all made by QSP. So yes, you have more deployment options. I get that. That is really cool. I like it too, trust me. The more the merrier generally. But you know, this is my honest opinion of the knife. It feels like it costs too much to me for what you're getting. Yeah, so I know some people are going to feel differently about that, and that's fine. You know, we all have our own opinions, and I get my hand. Luckily, since I've started this channel about a year ago, I've had my hands on hundreds of knives, thanks to the knife sale. People send the knives in for the knife sales, and other people just sending them in for me to check out. And you know, after handling hundreds of knives, literally hundreds in the last year, probably 500. Well, if not more than that at this point. This feels like it's way overpriced to me. There's much better options out there for the money. Now I know there are people that just collect EMP EDC, so you're gonna get it, and that's fine. You do you. It just feels like this should be in the $150 range to me. You know, it feels like it's priced nearly double what it should be priced, in my opinion. And yeah, so other than that, it's a great knife. It really is. So let's go ahead and do some size comparisons real quick. We'll go ahead and pull out the stout, another QSP knife. So quite a bit smaller than a stout. And we'll go ahead and pull out the variant, another QSP knife, about the same size as the variant, although it's a lot thicker. A full scale size thicker than a variant. And those are some thick scales there because the liners are recessed in them. So it's a full scale size thicker than a variant. And quite a bit thicker than the stout also. In the middle anyway, with contouring. They're even on the edges, but it's a little bit thicker in the middle, but not by too much. Stout's comparable, very comparable. Alright, what else can we do here? Well, we're going to do a penguin also. Go ahead and do another QSP. Again, thicker by a full scale thickness on this knife than a penguin. Almost identical in length. The penguins, I think they are identical in length actually. Let's do the AD 20.5. And yeah, it's a little shorter than the AD 20.5. Or how about the Wiha Banter? It's a little bit longer than the Banter, but not by much. They're pretty comparable. Again, a lot thicker though. A lot thicker than the AD 20.5 also. I'm curious why they went so thick. Why they didn't try to shrink that down some. I'm sure it's something in the design where it had to be that way, would be my guess. But I'm curious why so thick. so chunky. It's a chunker, that's for sure. Here's a Benchmade bug out. And here is a Spyderco Para 3. So a little bit shorter in the Para 3, quite a bit shorter in the bug out. Alright guys, I think that will give you guys a good idea on the size of this knife. Actually, let me go ahead and give you a thickness comparison. We'll use the bug out as an example first. So full scale thicker than the bug out, and it's a thick scale. And I know a lot of you guys recently got a variant PE2, so full scale thicker than the variant. And what else can we do here for a thickness comparison that people will recognize? Let's just do the 80 20.5, because it does have the fat carbon scales, but it's the same thickness as it would be from factory. A half a scale thicker than the 80 20.5, so yeah. Alright guys, I think that's going to do it. Again, if this video was not intended to hurt anyone's feelings. If you got this knife, you love this knife, and you think this knife is worth every penny, that's wonderful. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you like the knife. I like the knife too. So don't take this as me being negative, giving this a negative review. I'm giving it a good review. I think it's great. I think it's got great action. I think it's very fidget friendly, and I love to fidget. And yeah, so I think it's a great knife. I just think it's cost double what it should. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you didn't, go ahead and hit that thumbs down, because I know some of you out there are going to on this one. That's okay. We can still be friends. And I'll see you guys on the next one.